Welcome once again to the Voice of CX Africa podcast. And in this very beautiful episode, I'm with my co host Laura Minde as we unpack quite a lot to do with a topic that you might find interesting, the WhatsApp economy in Africa. I would love to just ask a question before we go right ahead. How many times do you engage in customer service conversations on your WhatsApp platform? And maybe you could just tell me, what app do you open first when you get to wake up from your bed? So, Laura, we're having this conversation today because it's very akin to what people are used to. In Africa, I have noticed that about 400 million users are on WhatsApp.
Yes.
And based on our behavior, consumer behavior, you notice that many of them used to call directly, but now they are okay with messaging because it sounds very instant.
Yes.
So, Laura, do you want to tell me how many times you open that app and how it makes your life very easy?
It's a very interesting, fun question, actually. When you asked the audience, and I was thinking, when I woke up, what was the first thing that I opened? And indeed, it was WhatsApp. Every day in the morning, which is probably not a good habit to have, I wake up and I check what's happening on WhatsApp. Before I go to bed, I close the day on checking what's happening on WhatsApp. And you are right, the statistic that you just shared is true. They say that 80% of the consumers prefer messaging over making a telephone call. And this is based on the Meta Business Research of 2023. So what does that tell us about being on WhatsApp?
It shows me that many people actually spend much of their time on that platform. They have their messaging. A lot of the texting happens on that platform.
Yes.
But again, looking at that, Laura, I'm trying to ask myself a question of why is it that businesses are not making the most out of such an opportunity? Because I feel like that's where most of the people are.
Yes.
So if you can't find them where they are, you will lose out on majority of them.
Yeah, and that's a very good observation. Indeed, it's a platform where we should all be. At least businesses should be having their presence on WhatsApp. But we also have to look at the reality on the ground. Within the African context, how many people actually have access to smartphones with apps such as WhatsApp or access to the internet? So indeed, still, people would prefer being messaged rather than called. So whether that's through WhatsApp or regular text, at the end of the day, I think some of the businesses do use formal text messaging, or they have these automated marketing texting campaigns because they know for sure people will get those messages. WhatsApp, on the other hand, you're probably targeting a certain percentage of the population who would be logged in onto WhatsApp. If I look at, for example, some of my colleagues or friends, they will probably reply to WhatsApp 2 days later, and I ask what's happened. They'll probably tell me, oh, because I didn't have a bundle. So we have to think about the financial capacity of the people if they can have that power to constantly have data to be logged on to WhatsApp.
So it goes down to internet connectivity as well.
Yes, exactly.
That can be an enabler or something that takes off someone from using the platform.
Exactly.
So from that very conversation you've just started, Laura, I would love to understand if you're looking at a small and medium-sized company, would WhatsApp be a very high cost for them when it comes to dealing with customers, looking at the fact that it requires bandwidth, But again, you also want to understand where my customers spending much of their time.
Yes.
Because we have call centers, and they say that call centers cost to about $5 to $15 to actually run a call center. So how much would it cost for someone to actually use a WhatsApp business app to maybe do their customer service support and many other interactions they have with customers?
I will tend to believe that it might be significantly lower to use WhatsApp because you don't need the whole data center and call center people. You practically just need one person to be able to manage that device and to answer to those messages. And in fact, I think you can already automate some of those responses on WhatsApp. So it's about finding, for example, the frequently asked questions that we talked about previously. How do you already automate the responses? And then when does a human being actually step in to answer these questions? And it's interesting because we keep going back to the same things about AI, automation, and things like that.
Yes.
And so for me, a human being needs to come into play when the situation is critical or when the information is critical. So I don't think it's going to cost a lot for businesses to use WhatsApp because, again, you empower one person rather than a million people.
Oh, yes.
But this person needs to be empowered with the right information because people come to us, first of all, if they trust us. And so if they trust us, that means we need to be knowledgeable about exactly what we are selling, how much we're selling it for, and the value that we're getting it for. So whoever is going to be managing that WhatsApp platform needs to be very knowledgeable, needs to have empathy in the way they communicate, and to be very responsive to the customer.
Yes.
Yes.
That's very, I think, very revealing. When you talked about trust, I feel like that must be a very important thing for us to discuss about. Laura, how can someone sense empathy in a message sent on WhatsApp? Because I've noticed many people, wing it when it comes to WhatsApp messaging.
Yes.
How can I sense that this company is really empathetic? This brand is not just giving me automated, auto-generated answers, but there's a bit of empathy in how they're communicating. How do you balance formal and informal communication, if you will?
Wow. I mean, that's a loaded question because, when it comes to communication, we always say that one of the key fundamental skills that we need to have is listening skills and not listening to what is being said by just the ear, but what's not being said even by nonverbal communication, for example, via text message. So we need to have that skill of decoding what is somebody feeling. Because at the end of the day, we are emotional human beings. So we need to be able to decode when somebody sent that particular message. What were they feeling? What were they thinking? What is it that they actually want? So I feel like there's a mismatch there sometimes when it comes to communication via text message that we can easily misinterpret what somebody says. For example, sometimes when you're typing to somebody, you accidentally press capital letters. What would that mean to you if somebody texts you in capitals?
That sounds like you're trying to emphasize something.
Either you're trying to emphasize something or you're probably shouting.
Exactly.
And so you may not be meaning to shout, but because you accidentally pressed a caps, then it sounds like you're shouting to me. Or the way you just respond, I ask you something that is quite sensitive. And the way you responded, it seems like you are joyous or insensitive to what I just told you. So we have to tread carefully when it comes to WhatsApp communication, putting the humanity into our messaging, putting ourselves in the shoes of the customer and thinking, where are they coming from with this message before we respond? Which now brings me to the question of what do you think is the appropriate response time when it comes to WhatsApp messaging?
Yeah, when it comes to WhatsApp messaging, looking at, I think it's a case by case, looking at the nature of the business that you're dealing with. There are businesses that don't have as many interactions as you can imagine. I heard recently that 175 million interactions take place in a day, world over, on WhatsApp. So you can imagine, if at all I have such a volume of interactions, what is the turnaround time for me to answer a request from a customer or a question, an inquiry?
Right.
So ideally, it shouldn't go beyond 5 minutes.
Right.
Ideally, based off of how busy you are during the business hours. But again, also the conundrum comes in when it's past working hours.
Yes.
If someone texts you at 9 p.m., maybe 11 p.m., and they probably need an urgent response.
Right.
I know they have tried to automate that with chatbots.
Yes.
But again, sometimes the chatbot does not tick the boxes for the customer. So the question is, how then do I cater for that segment of people that come in the wee hours? But ideally, within the business hours, it should be under 5 minutes.
Right.
Pretty much that.
When you said about under 5 minutes, it reminds me of the customer resolution process. When you're trying to resolve a customer complaint, we always say resolve it under 5 minutes. Because if you are able to resolve it under 5 minutes, then you are more likely to delight and retain that customer.
Yeah.
So on that same note, I usually have this rule of the 1-1-1. What do I mean by that? I mean that acknowledge the message within 1 minute.
Yeah.
So when somebody sends you a text message, even if you do not have the response right away, you could just say that I've seen your message and I'm working on it. So that's within 60 seconds, you can just acknowledge that I've seen your message. Even a thumbs up. Usually we have also in my company, we have a WhatsApp group. And when the participants or the members of our group send messages or ask us questions, it's a rule in our company that we have to give a thumbs up that I've seen it. Even if I don't have a response right now, I've seen it. So that's within 1 minute. It doesn't take you that long to just put a thumbs up or to say, I've received your message, I'm working on it. It doesn't take you more than a minute.
That must be a good culture.
Yeah, it's a culture that you really constantly have to reinforce. You know, for any change in your company, you really need to reinforce and put systems and tools in place and checkmates, like people to hold you accountable to your own actions. So that's 1 minute. You can just acknowledge the message. And then you can, within 1 hour, you can now give a proper either follow-up or ask clarifying questions or tell them what's the next steps. And then within 1 day, excuse me, and then within 1 day, you try now to resolve or close that feedback loop to ensure that the customer already got what they want. So that's what I call it, the 1-1-1. 1 minute to acknowledge, 1 hour to actually respond, and 1 day to actually close the feedback loop.
Yeah, that's a very good explicit answer. So Laura, and again, there's an acronym, and I think we had a side chat about it. It's called the 3 R's.
Yes.
It talks about, the first R being the response time, and then the second one being the message has to be rich.
Yes.
It could be visual in terms of photos. It could be a voice note. It could be, just like a video or something like that. Or then the last one is relational.
Yes.
What you talked about, balancing the messaging tone has to be humanized.
Yes.
Not to lose the connection with the customer. So I think that's like an acronym that can help people kind of judge and audit their messaging.
Could you repeat those R's, please?
It's response. That's the first R. Second, rich,
Rich.
meaning the message has to be very rich. If it's expressive, it could be a voice note, or it could be like a photo, a picture, or it could be like a video, depending based on the kind of message you want to pass on to the customer. And then we have relational. Relational, it has to be humanized.
Yes, yes.
You talked about the 1 minute, 1-to-1-to-1, minute approach, which I think is very important. But again, I've noticed, and I think I've seen that WhatsApp Business gives you that. You're able to have that instant message come in.
Yes.
I know it's automated.
Yes.
But it keeps someone engaged to know that, okay, yes, my message has been received.
Exactly.
And then an actual follow-up message comes in.
Exactly, and that should happen within that 1 hour I was talking about. So if the acknowledgement is automated, that's fine, but it happens within a minute or two.
Yeah.
And then, of course, now within 1 hour, either a human being steps in and gives that relational aspect of the business.
Yes.
They come into play after 1 hour,
So, Laura, that's a very powerful insight. You had talked about how businesses are starting to make the most out of WhatsApp Business. But again, I want to understand how many businesses are losing customers because they are not using the platform to its potential or capacity. How is it happening for businesses that are not making the most out of it because it's not expensive?
Yes, it's not.
You might want to get a messaging app that is really expensive, but WhatsApp gives you a very flexible package for you to work with. It has a free package, but it also has one that has an API that you can connect with your payments and everything. What makes it a very great tool for small businesses to start with?
That's a very good question. I think it's a very good tool to have because, one, you can have access to audience very quickly. I remember when I started my WhatsApp community, I didn't think I would be over 1,000 people in less than 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's very quick for people to join into this WhatsApp community or to join into these WhatsApp message groups. So that makes it convenient for you to reach your targeted audience. If you just put, let's say, the QR code or whatever onto your other platforms, let's say Facebook or website, then people can already go into this WhatsApp. So once you get these people there, so number one, it makes it easy for you to reach your people.
Yeah.
And then number two, you can now build credibility onto it. You can be able to post, thought leadership content. You can be able to update your customers on what's happening on the industry. You can be able to find out firsthand from your customers what is it that they actually want. So just having that platform allows you to really come closer to your customer and understand them from their perspective. What is it that they actually need? How would they like to be served? Because when we talk about customer experience, we need to think about the emotional drivers of the customers. And one of the emotional drivers is that I need to trust you. And if you're closer to me and we're in constant communication and you're sharing like content that is actually helpful to my business, then I start to trust you. Then I need you to also understand me. And the only way you can understand me is by asking me a question, because it's like almost being in the same room when you're in the WhatsApp group. We're in the same room. If I have a question to you, I just simply shoot and then we have a conversation right there. So that means I can be able to understand you, which is another emotional driver when it comes to customer experience. So I feel like small businesses should leverage this to be able to gain that credibility and to just have that audience who can share to other audience. Because we normally say, if I give you good experience, then you're likely to tell 10, 20,000 people.
Exactly.
So already, what does that mean? You're having broader reach to your audience. And as we can see, lately, like almost everybody's WhatsApp status, they're posting some kind of business. They're either selling a bag or perfume or shoes, anything, even home things like you want to declutter your wardrobe, WhatsApp.
Yes.
So we can already see it's very useful too, because people are 4 times more likely to trust you.
You're right.
Just by the response rate on WhatsApp.
So the response rate is very critical.
It's very critical.
And recently I read somewhere and they were talking of how the conversion rate via WhatsApp is higher than email campaigns.
Exactly.
That the click-through rate or the open rate is about 15 to 25% more than the emails that you get to send to customers. So making WhatsApp a very effective tool if you want to increase your conversion rate.
Exactly. I mean, you spoke about something earlier and you said, let's be where our customers are.
Yes.
If our customers are on WhatsApp, then let's be on WhatsApp. We're not saying that you should ditch all the other channels.
Yes.
You should still have all those other channels, but make sure you are present in the spaces where your customers are, and then you serve them the way they want to be. So because, as business owners, we sometimes forget what our customers want.
Yes.
We know what we want, and we had a vision of how we wanted our businesses or our services to be delivered. But sometimes it's not really the reality, because our customers are the ones who shape how we deliver what we have to deliver. So we tend to adjust and adapt to what the customer actually wants. I could tell you a true story about Outstanding Solutions and how we got started.
Yes.
And how we got started is basically, I just wanted to be a training company. That's all. All I wanted to do was just train people. But every establishment I left, they kept telling me, can you help me find staff? So at the beginning, it was more like a favor, like, sure, I can help you find the right staff. So I'd find a staff for this one. Next time I find a staff for this. Then it became like the business model. So as we speak, our number one revenue generating business model or package is recruitment and not actually training. So we had to reinvent ourselves based on what the actual customers wanted, which was recruitment more than trainings. So as businesses, we need to adapt and adjust to what our customers want, and only if we're in the platforms where they are and if we actually listen to what they want.
That's amazing. You talked about listening, but again, you've also talked about being able to pivot based off of how your customers are relating with what you've offered them. So you've talked about finding customers where they are, and I think that speaks of personalization.
Yeah.
Laura, when I look at most businesses, I think there's this whole thing of let's be on every platform.
Yeah.
And you literally throw your net everywhere.
Yes.
And you end up, you're not making the most out of what you're doing.
Yes.
It's costing you more because it's not targeted. So understanding what platforms your customers use and then tailoring your communication or messaging to what fits that particular platform. And I think that's what they call omnichannel communications, making sure what you do physically is what you will actually do if someone gets a conversation on a WhatsApp platform. Yeah, so this now brings me to another conversation of Laura. Most of these businesses are using WhatsApp. But when you look at the WhatsApp business, and we've talked about how the conversion rate is really high compared to emails and everything,
Yes.
WhatsApp business gives you like quite a number of things you can do with it. You can have, the customer interaction history. You can know how many people viewed what I put out there in terms of maybe the catalog or WhatsApp statuses. We literally check people's WhatsApp statuses every day.
Right.
So I'm just imagining at what moment can one be able to measure and be like, okay, yes, I think based on what I have been putting out on the status or my WhatsApp business, I've been able to get this number of customers out of that. Because I think measuring is very important.
I think
If
so,
you're not
yeah.
able to measure success of a particular platform, it becomes very tricky for you to really invest in it because you're not seeing traction
Yeah.
and you can't measure it.
Yeah.
I feel like if you can't measure something, then it becomes obsolete in the long run.
True. Very true.
How do businesses actually work with WhatsApp to be able to have those metrics measured? And what metrics can someone look out for if they're optimizing WhatsApp for maybe messaging or complaint resolution, and also maybe marketing, putting out their products for people to see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a
of
wide
course,
question, but
it's a wide
just, yeah,
question, and
yeah.
I'm certainly not the specialist to answer
Yeah,
this one, but
yeah.
I will try my best.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to measuring, it's very important, like you said, you have to be able to measure the efforts that you're putting in. And one of the mistakes that we make, even including myself, is that we don't have measuring criteria or performance indicators, that
Yes.
they're not in place. So I'm on this channel with over 1,000 people.
Yes.
How do I know that I'm actually reaching this 1,000 people?
Yes.
So one of the things that I noticed is that when on certain hours of the day, you would see the number of people on the platform. So that could give you insights as, is this the right time to post my content or not? Because if I'm posting when there is 5 people on the platform, when I know there's 1,000, then maybe the click rate might be lower. So that insight can give you indication of when to actually post. And then we come now to how many people actually reach out to you. Whenever, let's say, if I post out about a shoe or whatever, how many, the conversion, the call rate or the messaging rate, how many people actually reached out to me? So we should be having clear records that these are the number of people that I was able to either engage with, because not everybody we engage with actually becomes a customer, but this is the number of people that I was able to engage with. This is their concerns. This is what they wanted. And then we document that to see how can I then be able to make sure that you are my future customer. Even if I was not able to serve you today, but by having your access, your details, and you once contacted me, it means that you may be interested in my services. So that means I need to have a record for that so that I can be able to reach to you at a later point of your journey. Now, for those people who I converted, then I can also learn from them. Like, what is it that they made them decide to buy from me? So, was it the messaging of the advert? Because one friend of mine was telling me, I always try to put out a lot of adverts on WhatsApp. And they said, Laura, your WhatsApp messages, they don't speak to your audience. You're speaking too much English when they speak Kiswahili.
Oh, yes. So you get to lose them along
So I
the
get
journey.
to lose a lot of the
Yes.
times because I'm not speaking the language that they are understanding. It's not to say that they don't speak English, but the language that speaks to their hearts,
Yes.
that will make them emotional and connect and buy from me.
Yes.
So these are insights that I'm getting from the people already. And again, I'm saying that I don't have a proper recording structure. It's just that I'm learning from these experiences managing a WhatsApp community of people. So I don't know, maybe you might have other solutions of how we can be able to leverage and collect data from these channels that can help us make informed business decisions. What are your
Yes.
thoughts?
Yeah, so when you look at the WhatsApp business, because I think that's what gives you like a whole picture of how to run your businesses. It is able to give you a picture of how many people viewed whatever you put out there, maybe on your status or in your catalog. And once you know that, okay, 100 people viewed, and maybe 50 people were able to text, or maybe they liked.
Yes.
Because it gives you sentiment analysis. You're able to know, okay, how do people feel about what I'm posting?
Right.
If someone likes with that heart, emoji,
yeah.
it makes them feel good. Maybe they
Yes.
liked the product.
Yes.
And then someone who goes ahead to comment, that's someone you want to also measure, like how many people actually commented on what I posted.
Right.
And then, because commenting means that they're actually interested. It triggered desire, and then the desire led them to act. And
Right.
the action was texting.
Texting, yeah.
How much is this? That's a question. And then those that get to convert out of the 50, maybe, or the 30 that were able to comment, you're able now to know that, okay, yes, 30 commented, and then I was able to nurture those 30 into maybe 10 who bought from me or
Yeah.
paid for a service. So I think measuring is going to now depend on the journey that you carried that customer from just being able to view what you put out there to interacting with it by maybe an impression of, yes, I like what you put there.
Yeah.
And then to a point of where, like commenting.
Yeah.
That means they're interacting with you. There is a model called the REST model. The REST model, it's like it's RA. CE. Then the R means reach. If I put out a post today, the reach is going to depend on how many people viewed it.
Right.
You know, if I put out a post and I get 1 million views, I was able to reach 1 million people. And out of the 1 million views, if I get someone inquiring about what I posted, then that's the part of act. Act is A, interact. Then you get to interact with that person. If that person then pays for what you put out, that's the conversion. That's the C.
Right.
And then once they're done paying and they maybe call you back to ask, how am I going to be able to use what I bought? Or can I get my receipt? Or can you change this because I feel like it's not working for me? Then that's the part of engagement. That's the E. So the REST model can also help you measure at every touch point of their journey. So WhatsApp gives you that. You're able to know how many interactions, how many people viewed, how many people actually texted or commented.
But I feel like, like on other social media channels, you could reach, let's say, 1,000 people who viewed your post. And then you get maybe, 50 people who put hearts and people said, good job, excellent. But I still feel like there's a disconnect because people will comment, but they don't actually necessarily buy from you.
Yes.
And this could be, my perspective is that, for example, in this WhatsApp community, not everybody is my customer. Some people are just the champions. They're there to give me the thumbs up and cheer. They're just cheerleaders. They're not actually there to buy anything from me. So we have to be able to distinguish who actually buys from me. I remember there's one video that had so many views, but how many people actually bought into it? 0. But there was like over, I don't know how many million people viewed it, people commented, people reshared, but 0 conversion. So what's the issue there then? Perhaps from a marketing perspective, you could be able to tell me, why was there no conversion? Why was there no transaction? Why was there just cheerleading going on?
Now it goes down to the experience. If I know that someone has commented and I get to understand their sentiment, how they feel about what they just saw, I think that for me is a trigger to reach out to them, get to know how best I can make them buy what I presented to them. So I think back end, making it easy for them to make a decision will be the most important thing. Because I mean, when you look at the whole, journey of a customer from the time you show them something, they call it attention seeking.
Yes.
There's an acronym called AIDA. AIDA has like attention. A is attention. Like, am I able to get your attention?
Yes.
Then I is the person interested.
Yeah.
And then D is desire. Do they desire what I've given them? And then, A is action. So if you can nurture them from just being or attending to what you've given them to now like having an interest in what you're giving them. So now that goes back to the person behind the side from the sales support teams and everything. So WhatsApp, that's why you talked about instant messaging, to make sure that if someone has reached out to me, I don't lose them along that journey.
Yeah.
Because we have a high bounce rate of many people that get to interact with us because of our low response rates.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I can nurture you from just a comment or maybe an inquiry to actually making you make the decision to pay, then that one going to increase my conversion rate. So WhatsApp Business gives you all that. But again, sometimes brands do not make the most out of it.
Right.
Because customers just want you to respond real time.
And that's true. I mean, there's this model called the ServiQual, which measures the service quality.
Yes.
And one of the things that measures service quality is the response rate, which we just spoke about right now, how quick and how fast you respond to somebody. Because these days we're very impatient. We just want instant gratification.
Exactly.
We want instant answers. So the quicker and faster you can respond, but not even to give a full answer, you just need to acknowledge.
Exactly.
That's all we need to do, to acknowledge. But when you're talking about nurturing the potential customers, I remember one time I reached out to somebody. I posted about this eco-sustainable lunch boxes, and there was a lot of cheerleading going on. And so I started inboxing people. yeah, I reply to my own WhatsApps. So I
Yes.
started inboxing people. And I remember one person said, oh, no, madam. I actually just like your posts. I'm not interested in buying. I just like it. And I love your vibe.
That was
That
their
was it. And that was it. They were never going to actually
sentiment,
really
yes.
buy. So it's like, okay, I felt like, oh my God. So I just followed up on this person just to be told, like, go on, keep going, mama, keep going. I mean, of course, that gave me positive reaffirmation that, okay, maybe I'm on the right track. But then, of course, there was also that, oh,
Is it?
man, I
Is
was hoping you could buy a box.
exactly. But again,
Yeah.
Laura, looking at that, I feel like you should always keep an eye on such people.
Yeah.
Because at that moment, maybe they may not have the will to buy,
Yeah, right.
but they could become your advocate in the long run.
And you're very right,
Yeah.
because that's what we do actually in my office. We have a call log
Yes.
that somebody may call the office, but they may just they want to inquire, they want to find out and all that. They might not necessarily buy today. So we keep the call log so that we can call you in the future to see if you're ready to buy from us.
Yes.
So I think that's the part of nurturing that you're talking about,
Yeah.
which on WhatsApp we need to also leverage, nurturing our customers, those people who are cheerleading and engaging with us, just connecting on a human to human level with them.
Yes, that's very powerful. I mean, the example you just gave us is it's cutting through for me, and it ticks many boxes. So Laura, I know we've really touched very many things about the messaging app, which is WhatsApp. But how do you then get to someone who doesn't use WhatsApp? Because I mean, we are transitioning from the traditional messaging platforms to now using the digital platforms. It's inevitable.
Yes.
We have to go digital. But again, how do you carry along people that, of course, I mean, we have challenges of connectivity in our continent. Internet is a problem.
Exactly.
How do you get to reach to that person who would otherwise have bought from you, but because they do not have connectivity, you're missing out on that client? How do brands then adapt to have sort of an omni-channel experience where you know that, okay, yes, I have people that are still in traditional way of doing things. How do I then make the most out of my messaging?
Yeah.
What's the best way to do that?
I mean, I think there we have to look at two things. The first is to understand where are your customers in the
Yes.
first place, because you could be investing in getting on WhatsApp,
Yeah.
but they're actually not on WhatsApp.
The mama burgers.
Exactly, the mamambogas, like
Yes.
they're not on WhatsApp. So try to figure out where is it that the customers are so that I
Yes.
can be able to communicate with them. Because there's many other channels we can communicate to our customers. So for example, the traditional messaging, because we saw already earlier that 80% of people, they prefer messaging. It didn't
Yes.
say WhatsApp
Yes.
or text, it just said messaging. So perhaps maybe we could just go onto the regular text messages and send those little campaigns. Because I see, for example, on the banks, they send us messages all the time. I see from the police, they send us messages. From the government, they send us messages. From
Yes.
Vodacom companies, not Vodacom, telephone companies, they send us messages. So we could be able to leverage the messaging, but of course, this also comes at a cost. So you have to weigh your options. Invest in either getting the data or paying for those bundled messages, because you
Yes.
have to pay for those messages, and I believe you pay per message. So you have to weigh your options. Can I afford to pay for the bundled messages to reach my audience, or should I invest in WhatsApp? Because as business people, we need
Yeah.
to think of some investments, some like WhatsApp as an investment.
Yeah.
Reaching my audience as an investment. It's not an expense, it's an investment that's going to potentially unlock other doors for me. So is this a priority right now?
Yeah.
Or should I stick to the emails or other channels that your audience are there, or word of mouth perhaps?
Yes.
Like boom, 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 the good old days. So you have to weigh the options. I don't know if you
Yes.
have other thinking around that.
Yeah. I mean, you're right about that. It all takes us to knowing your customer, the KYC. And you're like, okay, if I weigh options, and I'm like, how many of my customers actually have phones that have WhatsApp? You define them as smartphones. Recently, they talked about 70% penetration of smartphones is basically in the urban centers. So if your customers are in the urban centers, maybe you might have to trade that off and be like, okay, I would spend less on the traditional messages, text messages,
Yes.
and then spend more on WhatsApp, because I'm able to reach a bigger pool
Yes.
of my customers. So I think it's a case by case. You have to weigh options and be like, okay, 70% of my customers maybe are comfortable using WhatsApp. How can I make it very efficient? and then maybe 30% I'll send in the messages because I don't want to lose them as well.
Right.
So you create a balanced communication strategy to make sure you get to pick up on every one of them.
Right.
Yeah. So Laura, as we come to a wrap, there's this very important observation I've made that I feel you might want to share your mind on. So everything is becoming digitized lately, Everything is becoming very digitized. And my question is, are businesses actually keeping abreast of what's happening? Especially the startups. We're having very many startups burgeoning. They're rising every other day. But they're not making the most out of the little resources available or the tools that are available to make sure, one, they create a relationship with their customers from when they commence business to when actually they grow to bigger scales. So what's the best thing you would advise any startup or small and medium-sized company out there working with a very tight budget to make sure they are not left behind in terms of making the most of every tool that is available to connect with their customers? Because right now they say that a customer goes through 5 to 12 touch points before they get to you.
Right.
So how am I able to make sure I don't miss or lose a customer because I'm not where they are?
Wow. That's again a very powerful question. I feel like I'm almost the wrong person to ask these technical questions.
Yeah, but I mean, just to pick your mind on that.
So, when it comes to a small company, of course, we have to be able to use the resources that we currently have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend anybody to go out of their ability to invest in all these cool technologies because these cool technologies will come and go. They have been there, they will continue to be there, and they will evolve even more.
You're right.
So are you chasing trends? Or are you chasing what the value that you're bringing to your customer? So I would say go back to the drawing board. What is it that you want for your customer? What value are you adding? Go back to the drawing board. Know your customers.
Yes.
How would you like to reach? How would they like to be reached? If it's a traditional face-to-face meetings, let's start with that. Traditional face-to-face meeting, traditional telephone calls, traditional emails. So I wouldn't say chess technology because these things evolve and change every single day. So you need to find something at the beginning, especially at the beginning, you need to find stability. Find something that works for you, right? And then try to learn and leverage how to use things that are already trusted, that are already, for example, WhatsApp is already trusted.
Yes.
So you can already leverage and ensure that your business is on a platform such as WhatsApp, that your telephones are reachable because you can be on WhatsApp, but you're not reachable at the same time.
Right. That's the response.
So you have to be on WhatsApp, but also reachable. But you also have to be responsive. But you also have to be knowledgeable about your product and services that you're selling because you will break trust
Right.
the moment I send you a message and you cannot answer me comprehensively about your product or services. So before we look into technology, look at first investing in yourself, upskilling yourself. If you have a team, upskill your team, and then find your customers in the platforms that they want to be communicated in. Don't invest in absolutely everything. Just find the key 2, 3 ones, use those ones.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm a pro in bootstrapping. Like I do not pay for anything unless I have to.
Yes.
So I'm a pro at bootstrapping. You can look for me and I can teach you ways of how to bootstrap.
And you're a DIY person.
And I'm a DIY person.
Yes. I've seen that and I really appreciate that.
So I believe
about you.
using your own resources means your own knowledge, your skills, your ability, the community that you have. Because again, you could use the people, the network of people that you have. They can be able to open doors for you. So before I invest in some cool technology, I could already leverage the network that I have.
Yes, thank you, Laura. I mean, that's a very, very important approach to how to deal with how to grow lean if you're a company that is just starting. And you've talked about something very important: know your customer.
Yes.
And there's something I read somewhere, and they were like, the best customer service channel is the one your customer is already using.
Exactly. So why invest in that? No, there's so many cool AI things. I don't even know half of them. I'm just like, every day I wake up, I'm like, okay, what's that now?
Yeah. So Laura, I mean, well, let's really now conclude this with a very, very exciting session. I know we've not done this before, but I wanted to shock you with it.
Okay, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, so it's the rapid fire, session.
Okay.
Getting to know you a little bit.
Ooh.
You know,
Oh la la.
it's gonna be very fun.
Okay.
Are you up for it?
Sure. Let's go.
Yeah. So Laura, what's the one thing you do at the beginning of your day?
I hate to admit it.
Your morning routine.
I check my phone. I
Yes.
know it's not a very good habit,
Yes.
but because of when you're a leader or you're in charge of people and people are in your care, including your employees and your customers, you're always anxious. At least for me, I'm always anxious. I'm always worried. So the first thing I always do is when I wake up, I check my phone if everything is good on the other side of the world.
Yes.
So I always check my phone. So some days I read a book. I usually have my Kindle next to my book. So some days, depending on what I see on the message, if there's nothing, no crisis, I put my phone on the side and then I read a chapter of the book. And then with children, you have to start your morning routine. You have to make sure they have had breakfast, you get them ready for school. So that's how it works.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the fact that you're honest about it.
Yes.
Yeah, and then my other question is, Laura, what do you do at the end of a hectic day? What's the one thing you do to relax at the end of a hectic day?
Ooh, I love my movies. I love my Netflixing. So at the end of a hectic day,
You binge
I
watch.
tell my husband, get that bottle of wine, come sit here, baby. Let's watch Netflix.
Wow.
So we binge watch.
Yes, amazing. That's a
Yes.
good one.
Yeah.
Now, we are in a time where we have a lot of mental health related conditions. And what mental health hack would you share with anyone dealing with lots of things? It could be work related stress, or they are really not fulfilled in life. Is there anything you can tell them that can probably be a boost for them to look up to tomorrow?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. I think for me, I would say take time to pause. Because, sometimes we don't realize that we're having stress or we're depressed because we are constantly moving. So I would say that sometimes it's okay to take time and pause. Take a day off, take a couple of hours off, sit, look inside. How's your inside feeling? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling worried? Are you feeling stressed? Try to identify what is it that's keeping you up at night. So, and you cannot do that if you're constantly moving. And I know sometimes I'm a hypocrite of this, that I'm constantly moving to block the things that I'm feeling. So I keep myself, okay, I'll take that project, I'll take that training, I'll take that engagement, just to block the real feelings that I have. But I would say take time off, 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 day, 1 week. Sometimes people take, when you go on a holiday
A
from
sabbatical,
work.
yes.
You just stay away for some time just to engage with yourself, reconnect with yourself, understand yourself, how you feel inside. And then from there on, you can work a solution from there.
That's great.
That's
Thank you
it.
for sharing your your very wonderful hack. And to our audience, this brings us to a wrap. And we've talked about how the WhatsApp economy is helping us communicate with our customers and how best businesses can make the most out of the WhatsApp messaging app in improving their customer service and getting customers to pay for what they're selling. So it's the voice of CX Africa, where Africa speaks and
the world listens.
Stephen Kagame, your CX futurist, and
Laura Minde, your certified hospitality trainer.
see you in our next podcast. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share, because this is a conversation you want to share with your friend or anyone that you feel like wants to grow their business. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.